Hey guys, my name is Musonda Mwango. I'm an ecological specialist from the city of Phoenix in the state of Arizona. I got my friend with me from Portland. Say hi to everybody, Ivy.
How's it going, everybody? Nice to meet you in America.
We're going to be talking about a few ecological issues, just trying to understand what Portland is doing or what my friend understands about it, and also maybe what I understand about it. I'm going to just start with the first question here, Ivy.
Okay.
What is it that people go from rural areas to urbanized areas? What makes them do that?
Well, I think it's largely in part to the way the world is changing and the increase in the way the urban commerce and the jobs and everything like that. So people are more flocking to more of a new way of living, and as well as the ecological degradation of of the old farming ways and all of those type of things that are actually making it hard to live as far as to make a living and stuff like that. So all the jobs are moving to where in more urban areas per se. So that largely in part I think is the reason why individuals are going from the farm to the apartments.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah. Moving away from the fresh air to the that's crazy. So, what does growth of urban areas do to the world and its environment?
I think it actually it's more harmful to the environment, and it also it puts people on top of people. If you get what I mean by that.
Mhm.
If everywhere you look, there's apartments being built or there's a house being built. They have houses behind houses. So if you look at the overall effect on the world in this environment in general, I think it causes more and more of a like we always talk about pollution, stuff like that. So by everybody moving to more urban areas is making it to where you you everyone's driving a car, or just pollution and overcrowding and just stuff like that. That's what I think the urbanization is doing to the world. Is actually bringing out more pollution, it's overcrowding, and just stuff like that.
Yeah. Do you have an example of maybe like a sprawl in Portland, an urban sprawl in Portland?
Yeah. Let's see. I'll take it back to when I first originally came to Portland. And the only thing I knew was Portland. But as I mean, growing up, my mom she always took me out to Gresham, but Gresham was like kind of like farmland and stuff like that. So as I got older, it spread out even more.
Hmm.
It was no longer Northeast Portland. It became Northeast Portland and Gresham because they started building apartments everywhere out in Gresham, houses out in Gresham, businesses out in Gresham. Everything started to migrate outward.
Right.
So
And so in your view, what does that cause?
how
What does
how I look at
sprawl
it,
cause?
to me, it causes a lot of environmental issues, as I said in the previous question with pollution, but also with I think it causes a lot of violence. I mean, because
Right.
you spread people out, but at the end of the day, those people that you took that were in that one specific spot, they're now spread out everywhere. So
Right.
you don't have a certain spot where you can say, okay, this is where this gang is going to be, or this is where this type of people are at. You don't have black people in Northeast Portland anymore. You
Right.
have whites, Mexicans. It just shows it's a vast variety of people now. But okay,
You know
that's I think.
the book Environment, the Science Behind the Stories, I think in chapter 8 talks about human population and the different things that come with that. And it sounds like you're alluding to that, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Hmm. I got another question here. Why in the 19th century did people migrate to suburban areas?
I think largely, as I spoke on in the first question, is largely in part because of the lack of resources and just the way things were going, and it wasn't sustainable anymore.
Hmm.
People have families, and as the world evolves, we have found ways to cut out the cut out the cut out the mom and pops per se, the people that have the farms that are selling produce or chickens or whatever have you to they're not looking to get them from mom and pops anymore. They're looking for the big corporations. They're injecting chickens with hormones, and we're about mass production in this world now today. So
Right.
if the mom and pops farms aren't producing in the masses, then hey, shut down shop and move to the city.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. No, definitely that makes a lot of sense, man. And I'm glad we're able to. I'm gonna ask you. Do you have any questions you have for me?
Yeah, actually, I have a few questions for you, and I was just wanted to touch on the first question that I was kind of eagerly looking to ask you in this cast that we got going on. So, in your eyes, what is urban sustainability?
Urban sustainability. So that's mostly those are the efforts that are done by policymakers to create more of a safer, healthier, and pleasant place of living for urban areas. And
Okay.
this means making sure that as the cities are growing and they're being developed, that there's actually a minimizing of how the ecological footprint that these urban areas are going to have.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a new term that's coming to play. A lot of people are now beginning to hear more about it and learning different ways that they can help urban areas be sustainable. So that it's not just we moved into Portland or we moved into Phoenix and we lived there for 20 years and depleted everything, and our kids come along, they can't even live in the same spot we did because
Exactly.
our ecological footprint is a little too much. So it's really being in a place where we're smart about how we treat our environment and that kind of stuff.
Do you think it's going to happen? I mean, do you think there's going to be any change with that?
There's chances of that beginning to change, especially as I think reading from the book The Science Behind the Stories, you read a lot about globalization and how the exchange of information is actually helping people learn more and more about the impact we have as humans on our environment. And I think as more and more people begin to learn about that, it's helping people get to a place where they look at these issues more smartly. So when they're doing it, when they're trying to zone out a new urban area, if they're trying to grow a sprawl, the city planners come in and they actually really are beginning to not just consider of a place where they're going to put people, but they're also considering what's the environmental and ecological impact of us building a building in a certain place. So that's kind of thing. So I think there's hope. There's hope.
Okay. Yeah, my producers are getting me to ask you another question. So, what is the environmental impact of urban centers, you think?
There's been environmental centers are what you call resource sinks. They're places that because of the growth of them and where they come from, a lot of resources that end up being consumed in the environmental centers, in the urban centers, actually come from far away. So the environmental impact is actually pretty great, which is, like I said earlier, it is great that we're now beginning to look at it. But in the past, we didn't look at the fact that, for instance, just to have running water purified, a lot of times that's done on the outskirts of the city. Just to have food and stuff that's produced and sold at the local market or supermarket and stuff, it's all going to be coming from different faraway places. And those places, to bring it over to the urban centers, they have to use a lot of fossil fuels.
Right.
So really, we're polluting other places that are not even related to where we are, just by virtue of having to bring this stuff from so far away. So that's one big environmental impact. And,
okay, that's a good one. That's a pretty good answer, I think. But we're gonna take questions from. I have a question from Tony on Twitter. So he wants to know what does he say? Are there any benefits to urban centers?
They actually are. You might be surprised actually because urban centers, for instance, they're good at efficiency because of the proximity of where people live with each other. When you're talking about containing things where the provision of services, for instance, urban centers make it easy to increase the quality of life for a lot of people because you're not having to travel so far to access the things that you need. Urban centers are also pretty good as far as fostering innovation because you're talking about a concentration of a lot of people sitting in one place. And come on, man, no man is an island. You combine a whole bunch of brains together, you're probably going to come up with better solutions. So there's several other things, and then also there's also the issues of issues of doing disseminating information regarding with recycling, developing environmentally friendly technologies, using locally produced resources, like all these kind of education. It's easier to do that because you're in the same geographical area. So there is, benefits of not living too far apart from each other and living together.
Okay. Yeah, I'm glad I got you on here, man. You're giving the viewers a lot of insight as to a lot of questions we've been getting in the past. But I'm going to take one more question off of Twitter. And Tina wants to know, what does the future look like for urban sprawls?
So right now, I think what's going on, urban sprawls, I mean, the truth is, as the world population increases and more people in the world get to be aware of like what kind of quality of life they want to, it's inevitable they're going to move in the urban area. So we don't have to worry about that. But I think the future of urban sprawls is just like it's going to be more planned. Like there is more information now as in pushing policy people in city planning to worry about zoning and thinking about environmental impact before they just build something. I think in the past we were living in the dark ages where we were not environmentally very, savvy. We were just doing whatever we want to do. We want to build an apartment complex and we do it. But I think now as moving out, I think we're moving into more sustainable urban sprawl. So I think it looks good. I think we're moving towards a place where we'll have pretty good sustainable urban sprawls.
Yeah, I mean, just to touch on what you said, I mean, I agree with that because back in the day, they would put up commercial buildings in the strip malls, and even now they'll put a Walmart just right next to a mom and pop store, and then wherever they put that, it's guaranteed to. I was reading this article about a week ago, and they were saying they were putting a Walmart in a small rural town, and the people of the town really didn't really like it because of the fact that when you build commercial buildings, it attracts people.
Right.
You're urbanizing that area now. So now
by starting that, just by building that store, all of a sudden you're setting an urban sprawl. And I think if you don't have the time and the proper planning of like when you're going to put that city, you're going to have an urban sprawl that's going to grow without you even thinking about the environmental impact you're actually having. So be even about like where you're going to be the next Walmart. Because you understand that once you do that, you're going to attract more people. Yeah, that's a valid point.
Yeah, like I'm throwing another example. Around where I live in Portland, I have they have 2 Walgreens about 20 blocks from each other. You think that's a coincidence? It's the urbanization of the area is becoming so fast, so it's evolving so quickly.
Right.
That you have a Walgreens in one corner and a Rite Aid in the next corner. Your competition is across the street. So what do you? They're both thriving in the market. So I mean, come on now, that just speaks for itself.
Yeah. Well, you know what, Ivey? It's been great chatting with you today.
Always a pleasure. Always a pleasure.
Make this broadcast happen, brother. Hopefully, we keep talking some more about all these environmental issues and grow more and more and being more sustainable citizens.
Yeah, that's all we can do. Just try to live life in the urban areas because they're everywhere now.
Exactly. All right, Ivey. Nice talking to you, man.
Okay, have a good one.
All right.